Ms. Adams made a motion to remind this bill to the claims committee, Ashley made a motion to remand this bill to the,
Yes, Mr. Parsons pointed that out to me, I've already changed it, thank you.
why I bother to read these things?
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes?
I,
Next, election of officers.
What?
where did that come from? I know, but
It's been, I did.
Yeah, I just
I
read
did-
them, I'm only up here
I
reading.
did question Ned on this, and Ned explained to me that it is a yearly thing at this time of year that we elect officers. And I came in all upset, and I said, our cars aren't leaving us, are they? And Ned assured me that nobody has expressed interest in leaving their positions.
Now, I believe Roe is happy being vice president if it meets everyone's approval. She has indicated she'd rather not be president or chairman. That's all I know about Roe. And she's king.
I would make a motion that we re-elect the chair and vice chair that we have at the present time.
I would second that.
Discussion or other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And congratulations to
the railroad
Mike
car
and
goes-
We've got 5 minutes,
Railroad
you need
car
to
goes
make
up
it
and
set
down.
up.
Congratulations to both of you for being reappointed.
That doesn't happen until tomorrow night.
Oh, so it's not official?
I
Well,
don't
it's
think
nice
so.
that she's,
Actually, the three of us, Roe.
yeah,
That
Roe
was
too.
good.
Roe also.
Yeah. Ned's on the job. You know, it used to go for years, and no one would think about it, no one would mention it.
Yes, I know.
All right, contract for the old Wilson water line replacement to Jack Concalves for the $394,000.
Move approval.
We had 14 bidders on this project, and this is amazing.
People are out of work.
14 bidders, and the high price was 1.254 million for the project
Oh
by
my
a
God.
local contractor, Dietz Construction. This was the lowest responsible bidder at 394. Our internal estimate was 480 for the project. So they're sharpening their pencil tips. So we've worked with Gonzalez in the past on a number of occasions. They've got good quality work. We don't have a problem with it. So I recommend that we move forward with this contract.
Where's the water line? Is it in the middle of the road or?
It varies. In between, there's no other real utilities out there. There's not
No
much
sewer.
drainage. There's no sewer out there. But there's the water, it probably meanders a little bit here and there.
What's the
length of the replacement?
Approximately 4,000 feet,
And it's gonna be 6 or 8.
8-inch ductile iron, cement line,
Okay.
double cement line. The current pipe out there is asbestos cement,
Yeah.
and it's broken 4 times in the past 2 years, substantial breaks.
And split that, where is Old Wilson Road?
It used to be Wilson Road,
Ah, okay.
but they renamed it because there was some address mix-ups. It's-
Spring Street turn into Old Wilson?
No,
Or is it around around the corner
Florence
to
Road and Route 66,
The golf course.
the golf course.
No, it's the
Back side of the golf.
Pine.
Pine Grove.
Oh,
Pine
okay,
Grove.
got it. Okay.
Right, there's some address problems with Wilson Avenue, so we're requesting is to change Wilson Road to Old Wilson Road.
Why
Trying
did
to
we
find
go
it.
Old Wilson Avenue?
They could have.
All in favor of approving this contract?
Aye.
Contract for 2 Fisher McPlows,
Yeah, it's something related to McDonald's.
okay, to Vassars in the amount of $8,000.
Move approval.
These are 2 plows that we bought to replace very broken plows that occurred over the 2 major storms we had in basically January and February, so they needed to be redone. They couldn't be repaired anymore.
Is that a typo or is it really McPlows?
That's what I.
That is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was,
So you can push
there was
your
one no
McNuggets.
bid on this, and there was another bidder of J.C. Madigan for $9,825 for the 2 plows.
And that's good price for 2 plows.
All in favor of purchasing the plows?
Aye.
I'll have fries.
Change order number 2 to contract 260-10 for the Phase 3B landfill closure,
Yeah,
design
I
and construction to Stantec in the amount of $31,000. So change order.
Move approval.
Second.
This is change order work on the Phase 3B landfill closure design and construction project that Stantec has helped us out with. Some of it was related to changes in design limits for the cap limits that we had asked that they make some changes to the design limits, which caused them to spend some additional time on the design. In addition, we had the additional capping area that we were seeking covered part of the access road, which required them to do some additional geotechnical analysis for the road and impact on the cap because of truck traffic. There was also additional construction contract administration work that was necessary, and some of that was related to additional work that the city asked Bates Construction to do. We had the need to reconstruct a drainage swale on another part of the landfill in the Phase 2 area because of a washout that we had. So there was additional work there, negotiating the change order and pricing and overseeing the work in the field. And the last part of it was because of some of these additional things that came up in the field, they had 12 additional days of resident inspection time on the project to deal with some of these things. So the total of all those items is $31,760.
Jim, what does that bring into the total contract amount?
It is $129,660.
And what's the total value of the construction, more or less?
There's a change order coming up on that.
540,000.
40,000.
20%. Any questions or discussion? All in favor of approving the change order?
Aye.
Change order number 2 to contract 30-11 for Phase 3B landfill construction to J. Bates and Sons in the amount of $22,900.
The work in this change order, let's see. The work in this change order is related to, the description of the change order is additional regrading and placement of gravel and millings at the toe of the southern slope. Basically work related to one of the access roads and additional work that was necessary in order to get the grading right on that. The construction was a little bit complicated because we were capping an area where we have an active access road to the area that we're currently landfilling in. So there was some additional work that was necessary in that area. The estimate was, the work was done the work has been completed. It was done on a time and materials basis using agreed upon costs for the work. So work came out fine.
Good. Is this road one of the ones that's changing to give us a little extra room?
Yeah, on the south slope area, and it's part of it's adjacent to the area that we were capping. And, it's a little finicky down there.
Discussion, comments, all in favor?
So the engineering for that work cost more than the work itself?
There's gonna be another change order at the next meeting for some additional money related to Bates. But the Stantec change order was related to a lot of things in addition to that.
Okay,
In addition to that.
interesting. Sorry.
Okay. Change order number 1 to contract 207-10 for on-call wastewater engineering services for the Coca-Cola BOD to SEA Consultants. Oh, okay. For the Coca-Cola BOD to SEA Consultants Incorporated for the amount of just under $6,000.
This change order goes from the original contract back in 2010, which had to do with evaluation of BOD loadings from Coca-Cola and how the wastewater treatment plant would be able to handle those particular BOD flows. And what we found out over the past month or so is that the BOD surcharge rate has not changed since 1995. So I asked SCA to look at the BOD surcharge rate and come back with a proposal so that we could get a more current fee structure for BOD surcharges and how we would escalate those fees going forward in the future, so they don't remain stagnant for the past 15 years. So this small amendment of $5,000, and actually almost $6,000, amends the original contract task of looking at BOD and the value of it and so on, and then coming up with a structure going forward in the future. And that way, because we build surcharges to Coca-Cola for BODs in excess of, I think it's 300 pounds in a day.
So if we revise the formula, does that imply that we renegotiate the contract with Coke?
No, it's just a surcharge that goes on their bill.
The contract formula was produced by Coopers and Lybrand,
It was.
way back when it originally went in. And we used that to charge, and it varies, the amount varies with the strength of the waste. So,
Right, but there's no increase with
No.
cost of living
Right.
increases, fuel costs, so on, or electricity costs, so I wanted to get this updated, so going forward, we have a more realistic number we're charging Coca-Cola or anyone else who uses excessive BOD, like Williamsburg. They're set
I
at 300
agree.
pounds also, and
And so we can adjust that unilaterally?
yes.
but we should look at it to make sure that it's palatable in this day and age.
I know, I should know what BOD stands for, but I can't remember.
Big old dog.
Big old, yeah, Dave,
Biological.
Biochemical
Biological.
oxygen.
yeah,
Okay.
Dave, Dave Mazzanti used to refer to it as the bod.
All right, so all in favor of approving this change order?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is the Coca-Cola sewer betterment discussion.
Staff wanted to just bring this to your attention. This all came out of the Bradford Street Pumping Station project, and the fact that the 12-inch sewer line from the industrial park is at capacity at this time. Coca-Cola is looking to ramp up their production at some point in the future. They have said that they don't want to pay for any new pipelines to go in the ground, and that they will hold their flows at a certain rate so that they're in basically at pipe capacity and no more. So, I don't.
And that'll work.
They think it will work. They think it will work. I mean, they came back with proposed flows in the future of in excess of 650 gallons a day, which is what we're allowing them underneath the existing pipeline.
650,000,
No, I mean 650 gallons per minute,
yeah.
excuse me. So that's their part of the pipeline that they occupy. The rest of the industrial park takes up the rest of that. If they want to go above that 650, we need to increase the diameter of the pipeline. We had looked at a 18-inch line to replace the existing 12-inch line. When we approached Coca-Cola about it, they wanted no part of it in funding it, and the only way that we could force them to fund it is probably through a betterment in the future.
Tell us more about that.
Well, a betterment fee basically allows the communities to charge users of the system, like they just did in East Hampton for extending the sewer lines into the plains over the aquifer. Basically, the resident paid a lump sum cost, and they had up to X amount of years to tie into the system. A little bit different than this, but with Coca-Cola, because they want to increase their flows, we don't have the capacity to serve them in the line. We can assess them at betterment for part, if not all, of the new construction costs to be able to take the additional flows they want to give us. So that the ratepayers of the system aren't paying for the cost of this $1 million+ project.
And you suspect they would accept that, where they were not interested in paying any extra for a new line?
They wouldn't have any choice to accept the betterment.
They could truck their waste away in a tanker.
I mean, we only have so much
Right.
capacity to serve, and they're the reason why we would need to expand the line.
Would this future expansion on their part be an additional building, a larger building, or production within the same structure?
It's production within the structure that they're currently building right now. They're expanding their plant to take on another chilled juice line. And What were their proposed flows that they wanted out of that?
They originally requested 800 GPM for discharge rate, and we only had 650 available on the sewer line.
Last
Kevin,
time,
okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I butted in. Last time we did a betterment, you remember, it was Marion Street.
Actually, it was Copeland Apartments with the pump station. The sewer pump
Was
station
that
on
after
Barrett
Marion
Street.
Street? Really?
Yeah, we did a better.
But they were in
Yeah.
agreement on that.
Yeah,
They were in agreement with it.
yeah,
So the way it works is that we fund the project up front, and then we collect the money for the next
20 years. I
15,
think.
20 years with interest payments coming back.
I think we're allowed to go up 20.
On sewer projects, you're allowed to go
Yeah.
up 20.
And that's acceptable to them,
No, it's
Well,
not acceptable
no.
to them.
the betterment.
They don't want anything to do with it. But like I said, the betterment, we can force upon the residents or businesses if we have an overlying need for it.
So it wouldn't just be Coca-Cola who would be paying the betterment, it's everyone who gets the improved service, yes?
Depends how we structure the construction project. We've looked at whether or not we could dedicate a sole line to Coca-Cola and leave the existing 12-inch line for the existing users of the industrial park.
What's the 12-inch line in there made of?
Asbestos cement.
Does it make any sense to think of it as an investment that will, I mean, presumably if you said, gave a green light to go up to 800, they might soon take advantage of that. But that would never pay for a line, I would imagine.
Million
Even
plus
over
dollar
years.
lines, a lot of money to pay off over time with just sewer rates.
So it makes no sense as a simple business decision, thinking we'd get more business out of it.
Well, we haven't run the numbers that far out, but that's what we were looking at. Like I said, this is just a general discussion to get it on the table. I think at some point Coca-Cola is gonna come knocking on our door looking for an increase. It's a matter of how we're gonna fund that project.
You're right, we ought to work the numbers up. So,
Do we know what's in that 650 gallons a minute? I mean, what, they must have, if they have to pay $1 million construction cost over 20 years, there's gotta be a cheaper way of keeping from going over 650 GPM, I would think. I mean, it's gotta be related to product
It's all,
processing or something.
it's all their production related. They control it.
It would seem to me that they would have a pretty strong incentive to not purchase water that then gets thrown away at a greater cost.
They're careful about their water use in
Yeah.
terms of the amount that doesn't end up in product.
Right.
You know, the flip side is if you take this proposed sewer line and you finance it over 20 years, it's about 80 grand a year, which in the realm of, a corporate company is not a tremendous amount of money, I wouldn't think, in terms of their budgeting and that sort of thing.
But just think of the value of 650 gallons of product we could sell. Well, let's just call it 150 gallons that's not being wasted. I know obviously it's whatever the process is, we can waste something.
They focus a lot on water efficiency there.
Yeah, I would if I were, if you're selling essentially water that's got sugar in it and flavoring, at $2
a bottle.
for 20 ounces. Why would you throw away 150 gallons a day? That's a lot of money.
It's a little bit political,
Yeah.
clearly, I mean, it's trying to, a decision like that is a little bit related to jobs in the city and giving them a chance to expand.
And the other uses that are in the industrial park.
But we can't give them something we don't have,
Right.
what I
That's
think
right.
Ned is trying to say
Well,
here.
we can't, we can't accommodate the flows that they originally requested. They agreed that they would live within the confines of the permit we just issued, which is 650 gallons a minute.
And that's sort of my point. It seems to me that they can probably do that. There's a good reason why they would wanna do that, a lot of good reasons.
Well, one of the reasons is that we can't take anymore. I mean, they really don't have an option.
I understand that, but I mean, it's sort of like, you look at it from a business perspective, why would you throw away something that actually is the primary ingredient to your product?
Yeah, I think the other issue for them is that they're adding a product line, they're adding a new pre-treatment system. There's a lot of changes going on there right now, and I think the 800 gallons per minute that came in with us probably on the conservative side,
Right.
because they probably weren't sure exactly what it was gonna be, so they're probably a conservative number. They were concerned about cutting the number back, but eventually at the 650, they said that they would, you know, they would see how that would work out as they ramp up their new production and see how it works for them. I think the overall issue was complicated by the fact that we've permitted them a number that gets up to, under peak flows, it maximizes the capacity of that sewer. So if there was any other user in the industrial park, or anybody else tied in that sewer that wanted to tie in right now,
Someone flushes a toilet and it's
We-
all over.
you know,
That'd be great.
the line is at capacity
We don't have any more capacity to give to anyone.
to anyone.
Is this a peak flow or an average?
It's a peak flow.
It's not an, what, do you have any idea what the average is? 24-hour average.
I don't know, I mean, it's almost irrelevant. I mean, it's the peak number that's gonna cause an overflow, so everything that we've done is based on that. Their average number, I think, in their permit is 400,000 gallons per day, or something, does that sound right, 400,000 or 600,000?
It was 600,000, was the new permit.
600,000 gallons per day, but it's really this peak, which occurs at some point during the day. And it's a peak that's based on, you know, other users in the industrial park and other flows that are going in that pipe. We've got, I think we had about 10 weeks of flow metering data that we used to back into the number, and then some calculations to figure out what the capacity was, so.
You got an empty building down there that somebody's gonna take in the Cole Morgan building.
Is it tied into that one?
It certainly is. You know, somebody comes in there with a wet industry,
So part of the discussion is, it's difficult to, I think it's difficult to impart a betterment on somebody if they're not seeing, I mean, you have to, by law, you have to show that there's a benefit or advantage to that property. The property's being bettered by the work that you're doing. So if a business hasn't requested to increase their flow, it's hard to spend $1 million or $10 and somehow justify the owner of that property needing to pay for that improvement. So it's a situation where, do we wait until someone asks and then try to implement a betterment, or do we try to get economic development grant money or something to replace the line now, so that if a new business moves into Cole Morgan and is a water intensive use or whatever, that the capacity is available for them to use. So we've
Yeah, would that be Terry Anderson or someone who might be looking for that money?
right.
yeah, I would think so.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much money's available. I mean, she was very successful in getting
For the pumping
the
station.
More Jobs grant for the pump station. She did a great job on that.
This is really straying off topic a little bit, but the next property downstream, I would think, would be the Ellendale Mall. And what's that gonna,
Well, Hellendale Mall is
Different sewer
side of the
systems.
tracks.
sewer the other way.
okay,
They gravity flow the entire way through the
Yeah.
plant.
okay.
How about the fairground?
Fairgrounds is the other way. It goes into the
Fairground goes into Bridge Street,
Bridge
goes down
Street.
Pomeroy Terrace,
Monterey Terrace.
William Street sewer. So William Street sewer, they connect together.
They connect down on Wood Street.
Just as a total mild curiosity, when a pipe is considered to be at capacity, are there still a couple of inches of air at the top? Or is that solid core of water?
This is a pretty solid core of water.
We actually,
I'm sure it would be at the corners, but
actually, when we had the flow meters out there for the work on the pumping station, we actually flowed the pipes full with hydrants to determine the real capacity of the pipe rather than a theoretical value.
We had calculated the capacity using engineering equations, and because of the issue of Coke wanted to put 800 gallons per minute in there, we actually ran a flow test. We opened the hydrant, we had the flow meter, and confirmed that the calculated number was pretty darn close to what the actual number was. So it's,
Terry?
oh, I'm sorry, Mike.
One last comment. It seems to me that we have a city utility serving this industrial park that's at capacity, and hopefully soon, someone will come knock on the door, because we want development in that park, and they wanna add some more flow to the pipeline, and, yeah, in hearing what everybody's saying, it seems to me that it's unfortunately our obligation to create that additional capacity. And I'm not sure that we can go to the last guy in who wants to give us 25 gallons a minute and say, look, you gotta build a new pipe at $1 million. I'm not sure we can go to other users that haven't changed their usage, they're complying with their permit, and now we say we want more money from you. I think it's a consequence of running a utility and serving an area that's subject to some growth. Which then says maybe we ought to be searching out some economic development assistance money to solve this problem.
I agree with everything except that it's not at capacity. We have granted gallonage to its capacity, but it's not there yet. And it's a ways from it until we find out what Coca-Cola is gonna discharge, we won't know. But we have granted 650 gallons a minute, which would put us somewhere near capacity.
Well, that's Coca-Cola's capacity only.
Yeah.
No one else in the industrial park is permitted by flow.
Yeah,
But Mike's point is correct, if somebody came in and was
Right.
ready to discharge
I agree.
something additional,
yeah.
we
But
couldn't allow it,
I
but
think the point I was trying to get was it's not at capacity right now. And I don't want anybody to think that it is, you know.
But still, I think your point earlier, Jim, is that maybe it would be worth running the numbers and
Absolutely.
something a little clearer.
Yeah, I agree.
And, I mean, because I agree with Mike, I think
Yeah.
it might be our job at some point to start looking further down the road and see if we can make this happen.
You're right.
Is this the discussion you were hoping for?
Yeah,
Good.
just wanted to air it.
So it sounds like we would welcome more information and maybe finding out whether Terry Anderson had any more tricks up her sleeve. Okay, set date for claims committee.
Oh, this is number 8.
Oh, sorry. Approval of the amendment, discuss approving an amendment to the ordinance of chapter 312 for vehicles and traffic.
And that's the Jeep brake one?
Yeah,
Yes.
big break.
So we need a motion? We're gonna approve it.
Okay, yeah, would you like to move that we,
I move that we approve the amendment to ordinance chapter 312 for vehicles and traffic.
a second yet?
A second
Give
that?
me a second.
Okay.
Just so you know, this went through the Transportation and Parking Commission at the last meeting, and the only change that they moved forward on this was to, under exemptions, item C on the second page, was that subsection A of this section shall not apply to public safety vehicles. They made the change to municipal vehicles.
Oh, thanks.
Of course, that probably the worst. Probably there's
But that was their friendly amendment, not necessarily yours.
Do we have
Just so you know, the DPW fleet has 3 J-kick brakes on their vehicles, fire department has 1 on their vehicle. And that's, I think, the change came about for municipal vehicles, even though I don't think they're used on any regular basis. The trucks have them equipped.
And I'm sorry, I did not read this, and, where does it limit the Jake brakes? Anywhere in the city?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. So if the trucks are coming down loaded around the curve on Ryan Road, they wouldn't be able to use them?
They come in emergency cases only. Engine compression braking is only allowed in emergency situations and to avoid injury or an accident. And a truck driver may use that claim as a affirmative defense if ticketed for violating this subsection. So it's for emergency use only in the city.
I just want to just reiterate, we were here the previous time, my husband actually drives 18-wheelers, and just the fact that the Jake brakes are really designed or created for steep hills, inclines, and heavy loads. And, you know, there's nothing in Northampton that would require it. I will say that since this ordinance has been proposed, you don't hear them as much for some reason. I don't know why. If the private industry is just taking it on themselves to self-police, but they're not really a necessity, even, you know.
It's mostly flat here.
Yeah.
Any
I second that.
Any further, Mike?
Well, I have a question. Should, we have a motion that approves this as written, and it seems to me that we have an interest in, we also would have an interest in that change from public safety vehicles to municipal vehicles.
So you could
So
propose it with the amendment.
that's, I think, would be more in my interest.
Gary?
I was just curious about, would we leave public safety and add and municipal? So it says, this section shall not apply to public safety and municipal vehicles, as opposed to changing public safety to municipal.
Municipal cover all vehicles owned and operated by the city.
Or other cities, like if an Amherst truck is going through.
So why would we want to exclude public safety vehicles if you're only supposed to use them for emergency purposes anyways?
Fire engines always have the loud mufflers, and, you know, I think they like that.
They have loud horns, they have loud.
Yeah,
Well,
I love
they-
that stuff.
Well, we're saying that
First
these
of
brakes are
all-
used for emergencies only.
They're emergency
No,
vehicles.
they're
The fire vehicles are running faster than probably you would run a dump truck. Going to a fire and trying to make up time to get there on,
So they'd be braking hard.
they'd be braking harder.
Yeah.
I would think that that's the only reason.
So you're proposing eliminating that?
I'm just trying to understand why we're asking, you know, private truck drivers to not use them except for emergencies. Why wouldn't we also ask that of our own municipal staff and public safety? If they need it, if they need it to slow themselves down to be able to handle the corners because they're going faster than they would otherwise, you know, in a rush, then
Ned?
That's the same exact conversation that came out of the TPC was, why does anyone have an exemption for this? If it's only used for emergencies, why would the DPW or the fire department or any other municipal vehicle need an exemption if it's used for emergency braking only?
And Mike?
I withdraw my waive.
What was
Gary,
the,
you were,
If I may, what
You're
was the
all set?
vote of the transportation committee?
To move it forward with municipal vehicles.
Unanimous?
Yeah, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
all right. Trucker's wife?
Well, I just wanted to say again that the speed limits in the city, I don't know if there's a place where they even go up to 40 miles an hour. So that if a truck driver is following the posted speed limit, which they should be by law, then they'd be going 35 miles per hour. And a truck driver should also be, well, there might be a place where it's 40, but I think for the most part, oh yeah, okay, I know. Route 10, there's that one section of Route 10 where my son loves to drive on. But
It goes up to 50.
yeah. So, but for the most part, it's very slow timed, and a lot of times where you see them using it is a downtown Northampton or through residential areas, and it's not a necessary thing for safety in that. You know, a driver should be being aware and being able to hit the brake in time, and I don't think it's going to save them that half second. That's going to make all the difference.
Well, they could-
And it's mostly a very large noise pollution. I know that there's people who live downtown, like on Fruit Street, and they just say when the trucks go by, it's, you know, extraordinarily loud.
Coming down the hill from,
When trucks come out of Florence, by Trinity Royal Park, that little hill down by the Silver Mill, use them there.
Yeah,
Jim knows he wants that twice a
I,
day.
I hear them all
Maybe
the
more
time.
than that.
So they're saving their brakes, basically, they just,
I don't know what they're doing, I mean,
That's what they're
creating
doing.
a lot of noise.
Picking up chicks.
I know,
Alright,
it doesn't
so-
work.
Now he came,
Well,
he
that's
became
what you say now.
it already works, so it's-
it better not be, Mike, it better not be.
All right, so, let's see, so they're looking for our concurrence on this, and we have a motion, no?
Yeah, they are, I mean,
Yeah,
it's in your court, they're looking to move it back up to city council for a vote.
and Gary's already suggested that we go for it.
And I second it.
Mhm.
Not the motion.
So, the only discussion is whether to put Mike's, amendment there about municipal vehicles. Or add that to the,
Change public safety to municipal.
I'm
Support.
fine with that.
I would vote in favor of that. I don't have brake brakes on my bicycle, so I'm not gonna.
And I don't have any either, but, all right, so, is that all right if we vote on the
Vote on
motion?
the amendment first.
Okay, so, Mike, are you making a motion that we?
Yeah, I move that we replace the word public safety with municipal in paragraph C
Second.
of the proposed ordinance.
Further discussion on that? All in favor of Mike's motion?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
So
But
that's an
what
aye
about-
against.
I vote
Okay,
yes.
all right,
I'm not supporting the amendment, and then
Right.
we can move on. But
okay,
it
that's 4 in favor, 1
I've made my
against.
point.
Okay, fair enough.
I think.
I
that
know, I was
municipal
confused by the
people-
aye.
Well, okay.
Okay, now, if there's no further discussion, a vote to concur with this ordinance. All in favor of concurring with the ordinance?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. Now we can set the date for the claims committee.
I'll be home, I would against this if the transportation committee was for it.
In the, before the next meeting.
When is our next meeting?
Oh, we have 11, or 3 things.
Well, our next scheduled meeting was the 9th, but we thought this meeting on the 2nd would take care of that one for next week. If that's the case, the next scheduled meeting would be the 23rd of March.
Good.
How did it pitch?
I like
I'm
it.
out of town.
Why don't you give them a ticket?
I'll be here.
I'll be back.
Are you gentlemen here the 23rd?
Here every day.
23rd. This month?
Yes, that'd be our next regular board meeting, so we're looking to set up some claims committee meetings prior to that.
I fully support claims committee meetings on the 23rd.
Well,
You're not part of the claims committee, are you?
People seem to be interested in what I think about it.
I will be here. I could be here. So for our claims committee, before, wanna do a couple?
Sure.
before
We could do 2 then, one at 5, one at 5:15, is that okay?
Yeah. So is that all right, PJ? Is
Yep.
that Get enough done?
And then you can set
April.
the other one for April. Do you wanna do it now, or do you want me to put it on the schedule again, or just,
I'll put it then, Grow will be here,
okay.
if that's okay.
Yeah,
Do we know which ones we would be doing on the 23rd?
we'll do Massasoit and Barrett Place.
All right, old business, kind of an interesting one, discussion of the Fedora property on Glendale Road.
I brought this up tonight so that we can start having a discussion what we'd like to do with 238 Glendale Road. The structure has been removed from the property at this point, and you know, Mr. Master was here 2 meetings ago about availability of trying to farm it and so on, and I wanted to share with you some of the information the department went through when we were looking at purchasing the properties and what value could be in the future to the city of Northampton. It does have frontage for 2 building lots out front on that, just so you're aware of that. The going rate right now for a building lot out in that area would probably be in the $65,000 to $75,000 range at best. The other idea that came up is that we did some internal design work and came up with a small subdivision of 7 building lots that we believe could be permitted out there.
How much of the frontage would that take up?
Pardon me?
How much of that acreage would it take up?
Don't have my calculator with me, but I'd say roughly roughly 2+8, probably 3 acres of it.
3 of 12?
Pardon me?
3 of 12 acres?
There's 20 acres out there.
Okay, 3 of 20?
The other one is another sheet in there that looked at small townhouse condominium or apartment type setups there, that we could put in some rental programs in there with a common septic system. So, like I said, see, this is some of the concepts that we put together in-house that might be able to do out there. Maybe they wouldn't get approved by the planning board, but it puts some food for thought what we might want to do out there or not do. So I just wanted to start the process because the landfill is closing in a year, and at some point we need to determine what we're going to do with the property. Perhaps we do nothing and just sit on it. It does have a value.
David?
What about the value of the sand, or what's the possibility that we might want to use sand in the landfill cover? Or even on this building site here in the future?
The settlement with the Fedors, he and his heirs
Yes.
have a royalty payment fee with them for gravel extracted from this site. I believe, if I remember right, I believe it's $1 a yard
I think so.
is what the value of it is.
What's the sand worth? You know, for,
Well, that's kind of the rule of thumb. In-place material is usually $1 or so a yard, $1 or so a
So-
cubic yard.
so
It's
they-
the cost of excavating it, hauling it, is where the prices go up.
so the sand has almost no value then?
To us.
I mean,
No, not-
to us, yeah. Okay.
I remember when we were, we sold some of the water department land over on Prospect to the temple.
Yes.
And someone talked to Chuck Bowles, because the idea was to leave enough land left on the water department building. Of course, this was another time, real estate wise, that they could make a nice little development out of the water department building. Would it be worth at some point talking to a realtor or someone about what's marketable here? It seems like what either of these ideas, if it worked, you know, if we could offer the land to someone, we get more money for it. Doesn't seem like there'd be any downside from our perspective, would there?
I mean, like, this is just a opening conversation of ideas and what we might want to do or not do with the property.
Yeah, I would think that really and truly, either one of these things is great. But these have to be put on hold until we find out what you're gonna do with the landfill. Are you gonna have a transfer station there? I mean, that's one of the things I read in the paper, you know, that they wanted to keep Glendale Road open to a citywide transfer station and so on. Those decisions haven't been made yet. So until those decisions are made as to what we're going to do up there, these are really, you know, put on hold for.
Just so you know, there is I don't know if they actually got final approval, there is a subdivision across the street called Kensington Estates.
Yeah.
They managed to come out on Route 66. I forget how many homes are in that, though, 20?
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Some in that range, so you are seeing some other subdivisions coming in through the area also.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the timing, the value of these lots, whatever configuration, would be worth more once the landfill is actually covered. So it's a known item and not just a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words,
I
wait.
agree.
And maybe the money will be worth more to us if it can be used in financing this building, the new building, if we ever get enough money to do it.
Maybe?
I was just going to question, I mean, it seems like the city's plan that they've been following is the sustainability and infill plan that's been kind of forwarded by Wayne Feiden in City Hall. And I'm just wondering how that building up a subdevelopment or anything way out in the outskirts of town follows that vision for the future of Northampton. So I didn't know if it would be something that Wayne Fiden should, I mean, he probably already has been in, but I know that they always talk about moving everybody in, so you don't need to have the services coming out, so.
That makes sense.
You all right?
So this may be a little premature.
I think a bit.
It's still a good idea to have it on the
Sure.
chart.
Yeah.
I think this was kind of nice. Did you do this?
I did not. Felix Harvey, under the tutelage of the Director of Public Works.
I don't see any pipes.
But there aren't gonna be any,
All right, Gary? Yeah.
except for water,
All right.
water and drainage.
Okay, Mimi, would you like to give us a solid waste task force update?
You want to work in concert on it? The task force is going to be having 2 public forums, one on March 7th at 7 p.m. at JFK Middle School. The second one will be on March 11th, which is a Friday, at 2 p.m. at the Senior Center. Both forums will be similar, will be exactly same in structure and content. It's just to reach people at different times of the day. Both forums will also be played on NCTV throughout the month of March. We have 4 options that we're looking at. One is to maintain the current waste disposal in the city, which is the transfer stations and the private subscription, if people want to do that. Then options 2, 3, and 4 all include curbside pickup, but then there's different variations. So option 2 is just curbside pickup with weekly pickup. Option 3 is the curbside pickup, but with an opt-out where people would be able to go to Glendale Road Transfer Station, which would take in, trash and recyclables and everything. And option 4 would just have curbside, but then have Glendale Road open maybe once or twice a month for bulky waste only. So we've discussed different costs that have been based on estimations of cities with similar trash disposal costs and populations throughout Massachusetts. And we have a press release that'll be going in Friday's paper that I'm going to be finishing up my editing on. Thank you, Terry, for some of yours. I know Karen sent one too, but I think it was the same one that you sent me, or similar. Anyway, we have not been spending as much time on reduction as we would like to, so it's going to become a focus as we move forward on how to reduce waste within the city.
One thing I would add is the 3 options, as Mimi said, the 3 options with curbside pickup. One is just curbside pickup. The second one, everyone can opt out.
Yeah.
We can't make people pay for curbside pickup. But in that third option, the second curbside pickup option, would give people a convenient place to take the trash after they opted out. In the third variation of curbside pickup, they could certainly opt out, but we're not gonna give them. It's a little self-defeating for us to both ask people to pay for curbside pickup, but give them a cheaper alternative simultaneously. So that's the problem with that option where Glendale Road will accept bags of trash.
I just heard the other day, in fact, my wife came home with the story, that Duso has opened up Allen
Yes.
for a transfer station. What's going on down there? And is that being taken into consideration?
They're not really giving us a ton of information. I mean, you can see how it works perfectly for them. Most of their customers are in Northampton and East Hampton. It's right in the middle. The trucks can go back and forth, make shorter round trips. And they're confident that they can truck the stuff out of there fairly competitively. You know, big 10-wheeler.
Are they accepting?
They're not yet.
Yeah, they are.
No, they are, yeah.
They've started.
They don't charge a permit to get in, so all you have to pay is for your bag of trash. So if you walk in with your bag, $2, there's no overhead permit fee. As of now, they're only open on Saturdays as of now.
I think they're taking C and D also.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like a MRF as far as that goes?
Arlene refers to it as a dirty MRF
Okay.
from the DEP.
So they go in there and they dump the truck inside of the building and they push stuff around and pull out what they can and
They're separating?
I would think so.
I think that's
kind
the
of what I
goal.
read.
so.
Yeah.
There are some big metal buildings down there that would be kind of slab on grade operations.
Yeah.
I spoke with Buddy Dussault at the last meeting, and he said that they're not fully operational the way they want to. So I'm not sure if they're actually acting at that capacity level yet, but that's ultimately going to be the goal.
So I think it would be very interesting before a decision is made by the solid waste committees to find out what his goal is and where he's going with it. I mean, if it's going to affect the bottom line of what we do.
I mean, it certainly has the potential to complicate trying to run transfer stations as better than break even. I don't know if it really would throw a monkey wrench. Well, it would give people who opt out of curbside pickup a convenient alternative. It's awkward timing.
Well, it's perfect timing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised, I was amazed.
Well, he's been talking about that for a while.
Oh, they paid 1.7 million for the property. I
Well,
think. He's got
a
big
long
plans.
time ago, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, they were even interested.
Anyway, the task force seems reasonably interested in the curbside pickup option. It'll be interesting to hear the feedback from the public. I mean, so far we tend to hear from the same 10 people every time.
Is anybody hitting any costs to this?
Yeah, there are some costs. There'll be as I said, it'll be in the paper, and I think we'll send out. It'll be a public record as of Friday. There's a website that has those documents, so it'll give you estimated costs. I'm sure Jim can provide the link or whatever because he created the tables that were very nice.
So there's something up online,
Yeah, it's a solid. I don't know exactly the actual link. Actually, I do know the link because I've got the press release that I've been working on in front of me. But the other thing that was brought up at the last meeting was for the pedal people, and that there was sort of a resolution that the pedal people said that we consider non-motorized disposal. Do you remember the wording exactly?
Non-motorized pickup.
Yeah.
I mean, there's clear sentiment across the community to make sure that whatever we do, there's a piece of this that allow the pedal people to continue their work. And I don't think there's anyone who's against that.
No, I don't think so. It's just a matter of how you
Yeah,
make
we
it
just have
work.
to think of a way to word the RFP. If the task force comes back to us and says, you know what, it's curbside pickup is a good idea, we think you should explore it. I mean, ultimately, Mimi, you gotta do the RFP and see if it works.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if they do that, then I think there's strong sentiment that somehow the pedal people have a place in that RFP. Maybe we keep one dumpster here that they can keep using, or it sounds like Duso would help out down at that end of town. I don't hear from Duso that they feel it's important to block out the pedal people in any way.
What's the website?
I don't know what it is.
It's northamptonmass.gov/solid waste. It's just got the solid waste as the /.
Yeah, I think actually if you go to the homepage, that you can.
There's a link to solid waste.
What were you gonna say, Jim?
I forgot.
And when is the evening forum?
Monday the
So,
This coming Monday?
Did I say Wednesday? I said Wednesday.
At Ryan Road, is that what I heard?
Ryan Road, 7 o'clock.
No, JFK.
JFK.
JFK, 7 o'clock.
The meeting at Ryan Row will be required.
And then the next one is a week from
That's the one
Friday
I'll be
at
at.
2 in the afternoon at the seniors.
Gary said. Chairman took me to Ryan Road.
It's on tape. All right, so I think that's it. Gary, is there something we missed that you wanted to talk about?
No.
Jim?
Wicked potholes on Glendale Road.
oh yeah.
And in our spirit of trying to cater to that neighborhood, we should do something about this.
10-4. I called it in yesterday morning.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, so there should be a work order on it then.
There's a good sized one right on the Pine Street Bridge, as you're going across.
Yeah, we're gonna lose a
Don't
small
use it.
car on Con Street one of these
Yeah.
days too, I think.
Yeah, we took a few orders on those the past few weeks.
It might be quicker if you just write down the streets that don't have a problem.
There you go.
Half the lane was
Yeah.
cordoned off.
Oh, there's one
On
on Con Street
Condac,
that I
on
think might be a
Condac.
foot deep.
So we were deciding to go to Springfield, and I said to
No,
the
there's a
wife,
new one
we
opening.
don't
that
go
was at
five.
the, McDonald's.
Let's get up
or
on
the,
91, this is the
Drive
only
by.
street without potholes.
That's it.
Sounds right.
So,
You pick the routes based on the condition
That's
of the
right.
road.
that's a good point, Mike. Ned? Jim?
So did we confirm that there's no meeting? Was there a vote or anything about the next meeting, canceling that?
Right.
The
Should
ninth?
just not post it.
Or we could just not post it?
You did make reference in the
I thought
last
we
minutes
talked
though.
about
Well, I
meeting on the
post the whole
23rd.
year, so I have to
Yeah.
take it off
Must be
the
full.
city website.
We're not meeting on the 9th, we're meeting on the
So
23rd.
the next one is the 23rd.
23rd.
It's the 23rd.
I heard it.
Yes. And I'm offering my regards. I won't be at that one, and then I won't be at the.
But you could be here on the ninth.
I could be here on the ninth.
Okay.
Yes.
We won't be
We won't. Nice
On
guy.
that calendar.
Nice
Ryan
guy.
Road.
You're working with a tough crowd tonight.
You like my men?
Everybody's got an idea, doesn't they?
here. Well, MJ, if we were here, is there anything else that you would want to talk about? That we haven't talked about tonight?
No, I'm good.
David? No? Okay. I had asked Ned earlier about, in our neighborhoods off of South Street, I don't know if you've noticed this over on Columbus. There would be no, if there was a car out in the road, a truck can't get by. A fire truck,
Siblings.
those big fat ambulances. And I just asked Ned
Trash
about,
truck.
should we have longer, no parking bans? But apparently the mayor is reluctant to keep the snow emergency enforced for that long.
Right.
I think we should say that there's no parking on the streets from December 1st until April 1st. That's what it used to be.
Yeah.
We never had any trouble.
Where there were horses and buggies and.
That's right.
That's what I
No,
was
no, this changed in the nineties.
People used to walk.
This was when Musanti was mayor that got changed.
Right.
We continue to pick side streets as we speak, clean up operations.
So it doesn't seem like something worth pursuing.
Feels like this was a very abnormal snow.
There is an ordinance on the books that there has to be 12 feet clear for emergency vehicles to pass.
Oh, no. I mean, there may be.
There's an ordinance, so if a car is parked, there's not 12 feet, the police can ticket and tow. It's a matter of them being informed of the situation.
I'll find out when they ask, call the police.
So
and
the
tell them
ambulance
car's
calls it in
towed.
and,
All depends on where you are.
I mean, Edward Square was one of the perfect examples of that, is that it's a private way. So they went down there and they ticketed and towed, or they ticketed a car, and she took it to court, or he took it to court, I don't know, it was a visitor, I think, and they won because it's a private way, and the city didn't have the authority to set regulations in the private way. So what was happening was that with the cars parked there, the police couldn't ticket and tow, otherwise they'd be responsible for the bill. I couldn't get in to plow or sand. So we just put our hands up in the air and said, we're not going in there.
I like it.
That's how we solved the private way dilemma.
Yeah.
Start ticketing cars in private ways, get them thrown out in court. and-
Which is the other conversation the mayor would like to have, the situation with private ways rectified before next snow season.
Thank God we got a committee.
Do we have a list of them?
We do.
Oh,
We do,
There's
oh,
a committee.
Gary and I,
Official list.
Gary and I
There's a
have
committee.
visited all of them.
Dave Reckout.
And a few people came out and said, what the hell are you guys doing here?
On our private way.
Right.
So as well, further conversation
sure
about
we're not
that, but I
gonna
have some
plow here.
ideas about how we can tackle this and knock a few off at a time and maybe
Alright.
come up with an idea to take the other ones that have public utilities, and I have some ideas.
There are definitely some that should be public streets.
Yes,
Oh, crystal clear.
absolutely, yes.
And some are driveways.
They just didn't get.
There's a lot of gray area.
There is one, that I know.
I used to own a house on North Street, or well, it's actually at the edge of North Street on Market. But I had no idea, my driveway is a public way, or a private way. I sold it, but it was interesting to see that. I owned the property, I had no idea. Actually, you almost bought it.
I looked at it. I got scared.
I should have bought it, and I should have kept it.
Next time.
Move adjourned?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Second.
Second day, all day.
All right.
Nice meeting, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.